I was hitting 7 at the time.
Of course, they played the U.S. Open there this year. It's about 20 miles from here. First down run for LaDainian Tomlinson. He'll gain a couple of yards. It was limited work for LT. Only 40 total yards in the game against Denver last week. A toe injury, 26 rushing, 14 receiving. A toe injury that he had in the Carolina game really limited him last week.
Here's what he told us a couple of days ago, that even now he is not more than 75% effective, 75 to 80% effective. The toe hurts when he plants on it and moves.
Antonio Gates had a toe injury at the end of last year. He was the man in motion, and they're running between the tackles with Tomlinson, and they are just shy of the 23rd, about 5 coming up.
They have so many toe injuries on this club. I assume they practice barefoot and people step on their toes.
When you watch LT, I expect tonight to see more of his running to the left side. Normally they do run behind the left side of the offensive line, but he can't stick that right foot in the ground and make that jump cut downhill with the sore right toe. So I expect more running to the left out of LT. I wouldn't run up the middle right now because Chris Jenkins, a nose tackle for the Jets, has been playing phenomenal. I mean, he's just been plugging up the middle.
Rivers juggles the snap and is intercepted out of the gate. David Barrett, touchdown. David Barrett, who last week had a half sack after never having a sack in his first 122 NFL games, longest drought to ever start a career without a sack, comes and gets the pick, and the Jets lead.
Okay, this is the first critical moment now for the Chargers in this game. They have lost 2 games on extraordinary circumstances. Carolina beat them at the buzzer, and Denver got him because the call was bad. To start out this way, at home, with the threat of going 0-3 and being 3 games behind Denver, this is the critical juncture for them when they get this ball back.
No question, not the start they wanted.
Jay Feely, who's in for the injured Mike Nugent, adds the extra point. Just the second interception thrown by Rivers. It's the first National Football League touchdown for the 9-year veteran Barrett, and Norv Turner's team's in a 7-point hole. ESPN made very few mistakes in a lot of situations where the Chargers have been coming from behind and forced to throw. Makes one there, and David Barrett brings it back. And LaDainian Tomlinson and company have to dig out of another hole here in week 3.
Like it was one of those plays where the snap was a little bit off, and Phillip had a tough time, you know, he juggled it, then he had to locate his coverage again, and just one of those plays that looked like it was destined for trouble.
Darren Sproles was an eraser last week in the 103-yard kickoff return. Looking for space. A little Sproles gets it out to the 29-yard line. Ahmad Carroll, former Packer #1 pick, made the stop. Oh, Rivers sends it back the other way, and Favre's team gets on the board with Brett as a spectator.
Very important.
Was 7-1 at Qualcomm Stadium last year. Lost to the Panthers in week 1, trailing the Jets very early. 3:40 gone by here in this first quarter. Take it over at the 29. Tomlinson to the outside. Only a couple of yards. Darrelle Revis cleans it up. Brian Thomas, the first contact.
Yeah, Michael showed the interception here. It's a really good job by David Barrett. Really knows what the route is going to be. He plays inside out, and he's one of those safeties that has corner skills. He read the route, and the throw was a little bit behind Antonio Gates. Terrific drive on the ball by David Barrett.
A good point there. When he was with Arizona, he was mostly a cornerback.
Correct.
75 starts. You see, it has been a couple of seasons since the Jets have brought one back for a touchdown. Second down out of the gun for Rivers. Down the middle. That one was almost intercepted. Again, Barrett had his hands on another one. That was intended for Vincent Jackson.
Let's stay with Rivers for a second, because Rivers and all the Chargers had to answer all week about being 0-2, especially the way they lost to Denver. And what Rivers said was, we can't go out there and play like we're 0-2 trying to avoid 0-3, because then we will be 0-3. We got to play like we're 2-0. Do those passes, Jaws, look like a guy who's playing like it's 2-0?
No, absolutely not. He forced one that was intercepted for a touchdown, and he forced a seam throw into double coverage. Not sharp right now. Not seeing the field with clarity.
Rivers with time, dumps it underneath, on the move with a first down for Buster Davis. who lived up to the first 4 letters of his name. Kind of a bust in the first round. Not much last year, but gained at 12.
LaDainian Tomlinson addressing that same subject, a sort of crisis of confidence. He says, you know, we can't think that way. But he talked about the fact that his wife said she was nervous about this particular game. And he looked at her and he said, have you lost confidence in our team? I mean, they're getting this from all sides. That they've, I guess, got to have a bunker mentality here.
When you're 0-2, you better have a bunker mentality.
For the 43, loading up for the deep ball. Vincent Jackson out there. Knocked away at the very last second by Dwight Lowry. He is playing his 3rd NFL game, 4th round pick out of San Jose State. He is starting his first 3 games because of Justin Miller's toe injury.
And Mike, he has played terrific. You'll see Lowry right there in that press position. Now he takes off and he sees the ball in the air. Really good makeup speed. Excellent job by Lowry. Good ball skills. The ball is in the air. As you said a moment ago, this is 3rd start in the NFL. He's been playing like a wily old veteran. As I looked at him on tape, he really is a mature corner.
To point out that Justin Miller is again a scratch. Eric Mangini thinking his cornerback is closer. Maybe next week. 2nd and 10. They go inside with LT, and Calvin Pace, the big free agency acquisition in the linebacking core, made the tackle. As we run through this San Diego offense, Ron, it has been partially because of the Tomlinson injury and the scoreboard situation. So they've been getting behind a little bit and changed that balance that we usually see from them.
Yeah, but to steal Tony's line, you know, the stars are out when you look at the San Diego Chargers. They have a struggle with the injuries. Fortunately for them, their quarterback, Phillip Rivers, has picked up his game.
LT to the bench. Darren Sproles in on 3rd and 10. Jets bringing 4. Rivers got rid of it for a first down and much more. Davis 20 catches last year, 2 here on 3rd down.
It starts with the offensive line. When you have 3rd and 10, you're going to have time to let the play develop down the field. You'll see Rivers in the pocket. Nice, comfortable pocket. He steps up when he feels a little bit of pressure. Really good job maintaining the vision downfield. Look at Phillip looking for a receiver. On 3rd and 10, very seldom will the quarterback run for the first down. He needs to get the ball in the hands of the playmaker. He got it to Buster Davis.
Got rid of it just before Vernon Golston got to him. Golston, the Jets' 1st round pick, yet to make a tackle in the first 2 games. Sproles runs this time and gets just a couple of yards. David Harris made the tackle. Let's look at the Jets defense. You'll see the lineups roll through on the bottom of the screen. And one of those headlines, Ron, Chris Jenkins coming in on the nose.
Oh, yeah, he really is the guy that leads that defense. You play the 3-4 scheme, 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. You better have a nose guard that can play the position. He has played at a very high level. And also defense coordinator Bob Sutton loves to bring the heat out of that 3-4 scheme. So when you look at people that fit that scheme, Calvin Pace, Brian Thomas, good fits. Coming off the edge especially.
David Barrett, who has 1 interception, 1 near interception, has headed off to the Jets locker room. Rivers underneath, hauled in by Vincent Jackson, who did a great job to bounce off 4 Jets. Gain 9, first down.
Really a nice job once again by Phillip Rivers. He was looking first to the corner route. Then he looked at the back in the flat. He went to his 3rd receiver late, got the completion to Jackson. Really nice job. You see a little cluster formation at the top. You'll see the jam by David Harris. Doesn't get a big enough piece of him. And Phillip, look at the eyes. Look at, he's looking downfield, then to the flat, and here's number 3 coming across. Really good job by Phillip Rivers once again.
You feel better about him now than you did 45 seconds ago.
After the interception, absolutely.
LT back in the game. Got it from Rivers in space. Heading out of bounds to the 23-yard line. If you're just hopping in, the Chargers, the team that was the runner-up in the AFC, lost the AFC title game in New England last year, opening 0-2. A controversial loss last week on the Ed Hockley call where the whistle was blown and it was an incomplete pass, not a fumble. Norv Turner very frustrated by what's gone on thus far. Brett Favre and the Jets have only had a few plays, 1 first down, 22 yards, but an interception by David Barrett has us at Jets 7, Chargers nothing, but San Diego driving.
Rivers checking at the line of scrimmage.
Tomlinson with an opening. Tackled quickly by Kenyon Coleman, back out in Southern California, went to UCLA. Third and a short 1 or 2 coming up.
I mentioned when they got the ball that it would be a critical drive, and perhaps critical, is a bit of an overstatement with like 1 minute.
Well, from you,
1 minute.
yeah, that's.
I understand that, but you can see that by keeping the ball a little bit at a time, and getting a bunch of first downs, that's a confidence builder for them, obviously. I mean, if they'd given it up and gone 3 and out right there, the whole momentum of the game could have swung. So the way Rivers is playing now and the way they're eating yardage is a good thing for San Diego and their psyche.
3rd and 2. The fullback was covered. Rivers scrambles. Pass incomplete. No flag on Dwight Lowry, the rookie who came over and timed it. And we'll see if they go for a 35-yard field goal.
Well, Phillip got outside the pocket. When he gets outside the pocket, he's looking for Antonio Gates. He was looking for him, but Dwight Lowry in excellent coverage. You'll see right here, Rivers looking for the flat first, not there. He feels the pressure from Pace, looking for Gates. You'll see the end of the play right here. Pretty close.
Officially field goal 36, Nate Cady. Fabulous inside of 50. Knocks that one through. Remember, he had the playoff trouble against the Jets back in that 05 wild card game. San Diego responds with a near 6-minute drive and a field goal.
Whether it's
See North leading Baltimore Ravens. You think you were going to hear that this year? John Harbaugh's team off to a 2-0 start. We'll see them in Pittsburgh take on Ben, Hines, Willie, and the rest of the Steelers, 8:30 Eastern next Monday night at the confluence of the Three Rivers in Western PA.
And the Steelers better be working on their pass protections, how to pick up the blitz. They thought the Eagles brought a lot of blitzes yesterday. Man, wait till you see what Rex Ryan does in Baltimore. They better spend some time in the meeting room this week in Pittsburgh.
So you think 8 sacks is a lot? Is that what you're saying? That's a lot, 8?
There were 6 in the second quarter.
Okay.
Brad Smith goes back with Leon Washington for the kick. Instead comes up short with David Bowens, a defensive, or a linebacker, I should say, who put the ball on the ground, but gets back on it. Defensive guys don't get the ball very often. Hold those deer. Wrap it up. Favre back on the field after this.
Jill, is it?
Only 5 plays, 1 first down for the Jets, but they lead on the pick 6 by David Barrett, 7-0. And Favre's 5th throw, 7-3, I should say. Dustin Keller with the catch. And a nice move by the rookie tight end to get out to the 35-yard line. Ron will go through the names on the Charger defense on the bottom of the screen. They're missing Sean Merriman. What does that do to the profile of this defense?
Well, they still stay pressure-based. Of course, when you lose a great player like Sean Merriman, you lose an awful lot. But they want to get after the quarterback. That's what they're all about. However, they have not been getting to the quarterback in the first 2 games. 33 blitzes in 2 games, no sacks. They got to play better than that. They got to pressure Brett Favre, or it'll be a long night.
You saw their defensive coordinator take control there. These defenses have started slow the last couple of years and come on great at the end. Thomas Jones, the first down, to the 37-yard line. Well, let's talk about last year, that great finish of the season. They ended up with terrific numbers in terms of being stingy to score upon. Week 1, Carolina, 26 points, 388 yards. Merriman then leaves, goes to get the knee surgery in Miami last week. And boy, they give up 39 points and almost 500 yards to the Broncos.
You mentioned Cottrell. Cottrell's taken heat in this city for the lack of pressure on opposing quarterbacks and the defense falling down like this so precipitously.
Couple of tight ends and the Jets go empty. It was thrown for Jones and Cromartie drops the interception. That's some of the miscommunication there with Favre and his would-be receiver. Cromartie, who had many interceptions last year, 10, drops one for the 2nd consecutive week.
Well, Cromartie is what we call a cluer in the business. He's going to read the quarterback's drop. He did a terrific job of looking in the backfield, reading the drop of Brett Favre. It should have been a touchdown for the Chargers. Cromartie could not hold on. He had a tough game last week. Rebounded thus far.
Brandon Marshall torched him in Denver for 18 receptions. To the ground and Jones. Ball came out. San Diego pulled it out. Picking it up is Quentin Jammer. to the 15-yard line, tackled by Jericho Cotchery. Third turnover forced by the Chargers defense this year.
They led the NFL last year in takeaways with 48. They were way ahead of everybody else. They led the NFL in interceptions with 30. It was an opportunistic defense last year that gave the offense the ball regularly. And if they do it again like this, they're in field goal range already.
Well, Tim Dobbins did a heck of a job of ripping that ball out. And every day, defensive players are coached. When the tackle is made and he stopped to rip that football out, Dobbins obviously paying attention to linebacker coach Ron Rivera.
Starting from the red zone with Tomlinson. He gets about 2 or 3 yards before Calvin Pace can make the tackle. Let's credit Derek Smith on that fumble, too. Smith was the one who was holding Jones and allowed Dobbins to take it away. And everybody talks about the absence of Merriman. They're also missing Stephen Cooper, the linebacker, who was suspended for the first 4 games, testing positive for a banned stimulant. And the inside linebacker play misses Cooper's thumb, and they get a big play out of that position with those 2 guys there.
That's a big play for the Chargers.
Fullback Mike Tolbert is the man in motion. Had a big reception last week. 67-yarder.
He's an excellent receiver, Mike.
Rivers. Tomlinson couldn't hang on. He was about to get banged by Eric Barton, the former Raider. We'll have third down coming up. On this Jets defense, in a passing situation, Chris Jenkins normally wouldn't be on the field. That nose tackle who makes a difference up front. But he also has a back injury, so he has been out the last series. And David Barrett, who had that interception for a touchdown on the Chargers for a series, he has a shoulder injury. So the Jets defense banged up here in the early going.
Against his 3-by-1 set, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. They like to work the corner backside in the single receiver set.
3rd and 7 with some pace on it to Davis. Big factor here tonight. Buster Davis, tackled by Barrett, is back in, but a San Diego first down. I think all 3 of Davis's receptions have come on 3rd down.
Excellent route designed by Norv Turner out of that cluster formation. 3 receivers to the right. He's dragging 1 receiver underneath into the vacated area, and Buster Davis doing a really good job of reading the coverage, finding that void in the defense, and Phillip Rivers finding him.
What's your play right here, Joe?
Well, they're going to run it to the right here. How's that for a call, Tony? Run it to the right side.
Well, they've got one of the great touchdown rushers in the history of the NFL, Tomlinson. Rivers lost the ball, ended up getting it back in his hands, and will gain positive yardage. So once on a shotgun, once on a snap right under center, Phillip Rivers couldn't hang on enough to finish the play.
It was a run to the right side, but not the one I expected.
This is 2 weeks in a row. We saw Tony Romo not handle the ball last week. We saw Donovan McNabb not handle exchanges last week. Rivers has now done this twice. What are they coating the football with? What exactly is going on here?
There's no excuse with that. The teams do have the whole week to break footballs in. 2nd and goal out of the backfield. The fullback, Mike Tolbert, touchdown.
The overriding theme all week for the San Diego Chargers was this sense of urgency. They come in here at 0-2. Within the first minute or so of the game, right, they're down 7-0. They've now had 2 successful scoring drives, and you can exhale at this point if you're a San Diego fan. I don't think you got to exhale often, but you can exhale at least once.
Mike Tolbert's first National Football League touchdown after the fumble by Thomas Jones. 10-7 Chargers. It's a big bounce back for San Diego after taking that initial pick 6 in the gut, down 7-0. They come back with back-to-back scores. That time the Thomas Jones fumble put them in good position, and the Chargers add to that every game with a touchdown run that they've had for the last 5.5 seasons.
You know, Tony, you talked earlier about Phillip Rivers getting off to a slow start, the interception for a touchdown, squeezing the ball in the coverage. I believe one of the great characteristics of a quarterback in this league to be great is you have to have amnesia. When you make a mistake, when you throw an interception, when you're playing poorly, forget and move on to the next play. You can't do anything about the previous play.
going to be Brad Smith to take us back from the 6 for the Jets, former Missouri quarterback, who's done a nice job in a receiving role for the Jets. Takes it out to the 31-yard line. Key plays so far. Rivers, the early bobble of the shotgun, picked off by David Barrett. First National Football League touchdown, and Brett Favre out to get his defense going after their big play, but his offense gave one up. Should have lost it on an interception a couple of plays before this. Then Thomas Jones has it stripped away. Quentin Jammer returns it to the red zone, and Rivers throws to the fullback out of Coastal Carolina, the former Chanticleer. Mike Tolbert with his first NFL touchdown gets you up to where we are right now. Leon Washington checks into the game for the Jets and takes the pass from far. Able to elude the one tackle, but Giles Tucker, the replacement for Sean Merriman, out with that knee surgery, makes the tackle, gain of about 5.
Yeah, and the Jets have to get Leon Washington involved in their offense a little bit more. They don't have the really deep, explosive threat at wide receiver. They need to get some speed on the field. Leon Washington brings them that speed. Get him the ball in space like they just did on a bubble screen to the left there, but he needs more touches.
Play 11 will be pass number 8. And Favre completes his third to the first-round pick out of Purdue. Dustin Keller to midfield. Michelle Tafoya on the sideline with us tonight. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Mike. Well, it is truly odd to watch Brett Favre come to the sidelines after a drive. I mean, he sits down and immediately is surrounded by assistant coaches, backup quarterbacks, and it's as though he's getting a crash course in the offense every time. He's studying Polaroids, listening intently as he gets advice and input. It's been a long time since Brett Favre has had to get that kind of counseling on the bench, Mike.
Oh, Michelle, what did you tell us all last night? He's taking the playbook home. Hadn't done that in a while. A long while. Shotgun run will go nowhere with Leon Washington. Giles Tucker giving you a mini Merriman celebration as he makes the tackle. That should bring the first quarter to an end.
It's kind of a weak Marion, though. Sean Merriman. Merriman did it right.
And Sean's watching down in Florida, where he got his surgery on his knee done a week ago. Oh, the flip sides at midfield at the end of the first quarter. The Jets are throwing more. San Diego has more points. 10-7 into the first.
System, and he's got to transform everything from one system to another. It takes time. He's very limited in what he's using right now.
2nd and 11 begins the second quarter. And Favre trying to squeeze one in. Intercepted by Cromartie, who's got room. Goodbye, Antonio Cromartie. Touchdown. The man who intercepted Peyton Manning 3 times last year and had maybe his worst NFL game of his brief career last week against Denver. Takes it back 52 yards. And the extra point makes it a 10-point San Diego lead.
Well, Antonio Cromartie has incredible ball skills. You'll see it here. Brett Favre looking right, comes back late to his left. There's a pressure up the middle from Wilhelm. And you see Cromartie when the ball is in the air. You know, he battles Coles for the football right there, reaches over the top, tips it up in the air. Great focus on the football. Wasn't happy with just breaking it up. He goes for the interception. Now you want to be Brett Favre in the pocket. You see it? Just tosses it out to the left, a little bit off balance. Almost Favre-like, but pressure in his face. Now he knows he's in trouble. Not a good feeling if you're Brett Favre.
There's an upside with Favre that he can stretch the field more than Chad Pennington, that he brings unbelievable credentials, that he had a great year last year, and he's had 1,000 great years. And there's a downside. The downside is that he throws a lot of interceptions, and that he will try and put the ball in the narrowest possible spot. But that time, it just looked like Cromartie jumped over Coles, which is bigger, like getting an offensive rebound and then putting it right back up.
Well, you have a 6'2" Antonio Cromartie and a 5'11" Laveranues Coles. And you're right, Tony, he just jumped over his back. And Cromartie's also got those long arms. He reminds me a lot of Albert Lewis, the great corner with the Kansas City Chiefs. He has that kind of skill, and you see him, the vertical leap is good, the hands are good. Just a tremendous cornerback. Yeah, he did have a bad game last week, but he's making the plays
All
tonight.
the plays tonight, interceptions and fumbles. They're the big plays.
17 points for the Chargers in less than 6 minutes. Leon Washington, the return from the goal line. Great kick returner, Washington. Past the kicker, Washington. Player has an angle on him. Can he get to him? Clean is Gordon. Cutting it back is Washington all the way to the 4. Antoine Payson saving the touchdown.
Did I mention that all the big plays were interceptions and fumbles? Because I may have been premature. How about a kickoff return?
Is this a repeat of Philly-Dallas last Monday night?
Well, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Just score each time.
The Jets have had great kickoff returns the last few years. Great job by Washington cutting it back, and Payson didn't give up to make the play. Whether it was Justin Miller in 06 or Leon Washington with 3 last year. Watch this sweet move. Right through the hole. There. Whew. Now remember, Jets inside the 5 in their controversial first and goal play calling last week. They ran it 3 times from the 3. They'll run it with Thomas Jones to the 3-yard line.
Well, Tony, I guess.
What would you do? Well, this is what they got in trouble last week.
The problem was last week. However, sometimes you got to block people. Last week it wasn't. When you have access to the results in play calling, it's easy to be critical. Although I will be critical of the play where they ran the third time.
Brett Favre to hand the ball off repeatedly inside the 10.
They've spread the field here. He's in the shotgun. This is either going to be a draw or he's going to throw it. That's simple.
Second and goal. Favre kept it alive to the back of the end zone to Coles. Touchdown.
Everyone in New York is happy when they see Brett Favre drop back in the shotgun on 2nd and 3 and throw a touchdown
They
pass.
didn't do it last week. I hope I'm not mistaken on this. I think that's the 98th time he's had a touchdown pass inside the 5, and I think that's an NFL record.
Most
but
of all
I
time.
could be off by 50 on that. But that's what they wanted last week, and they got it this week.
Of course, guys, much has been made of the relationship with Laveranues Coles and Chad Pennington, how close they were. Coles took the acquisition of Favre that led to the trading of Pennington very hard. It's the first time they hook up for a touchdown. Extra point added by Jay Feely. This is like Dallas never ended last week, guys.
Good.
31
More scoring.
31 points in 16 minutes and 10 seconds. It's classy, San Diego. As the sun sets here on a Monday night, the first night of fall. It's the greatest city.
It is.
Every time.
Wow.
Why don't you live here? I mean, it's just, you think the same thing over and over.
Good movie reference.
Thank you.
Very good.
Darren Sproles, who followed a Bronco touchdown last week with the franchise record tying kickoff return. He'll try to respond to Leon Washington. Jay Feely's the kicker. ESPN first takes Jay Feely. A panelist with Skip Bayless on a regular basis. Onside kick attempt, and it's caught by the Chargers off the deflection at the 45. So the Jets, you see Mike Westhoff with the cane there. He's the special teams coordinator for Eric Mangini, one of 2. He was hoping that they could catch the Chargers with a surprise, and they did not.
I know it didn't work. It was a cool idea. Cool idea to try it right here.
Legadou Nane is a very tall player, able to deflect it from Wallace Wright, the wide receiver, to try to get the deflection, and it was recovered by Marcus Harris of the Chargers.
But Wallace Wright had a chance to make that catch. The pop-up kick is tough. Wright had a chance.
The fumble, 94-yard kickoff return, onside kick attempt. All in the first 16 minutes, 15 seconds tonight. And the Chargers take over for the second time on the Jets side of the field. Rivers gives it to Tomlinson, trying to turn it to the left. Sione Bua, who's on the nose for the Jets, came out of there with a Chargers helmet as he was dealing with the blocking against Tomlinson, only a gain of about 2 yards.
Everybody expects so much from the Chargers offense, and it's good. But if Gates is hurt, if Tomlinson is hurt, then what are they really supposed to do? If Tomlinson is at 75% of himself, what's he supposed to do?
He's got a lot of weapons to deal with. Philip Rivers has picked it up despite those injuries.
It's a three-man rush. Swings it out to Tomlinson. Chased down by the second-year starting inside linebacker David Harris. LT's right near the first down stick. And we talk about Gates. We mentioned Tomlinson went into detail about his toe injury against Carolina that lingered into last week against Denver. Antonio Gates' toe injury is still from the end of last year and the playoffs, and he had surgery on his toe. And he told us in the preseason, it's like, I can't believe a toe has done this much to me, but he's played and has 8 catches first 2 games, but not 100% just yet.
Mike, he's not close to what he was. He's a month, maybe 2 months away. You just don't see the separation when he runs his routes.
He's down at the bottom of the screen, and Tomlinson runs to the area where Chris Jenkins usually is, but the nose tackle still out for the Jets with the back injury, so they pick up a first down.
You know, we should mention, Marcus McNeil is back at that left tackle position. A couple years ago, his rookie season, he had a tremendous year, and LT had great runs to the left side of this Charger offense. I think as you're going to see a healthy McNeil in the offense, you'll see more runs to the left side.
McNeil, 2 years in the league, 2 Pro Bowls. Brandon Manamaliuna in motion and blocking for Tomlinson. He's able to get about 4 yards on that carry.
You mentioned the toe injuries and how odd it is that such a small little part of your body can disable you. Remember Jonathan Ogden couldn't play, a massive guy, in a Pro Bowl 100 times, couldn't play because of a toe. Deion Sanders famously had turf toe. What's the most important injury in college this year? Ohio State running back Beanie Wells, right? Toe problems. It's too small for it to matter, but it becomes the Achilles heel of your foot.
The great Jack Lambert's career. Turf toe at the end. Chris Jenkins, the nose tackle, headed to the locker room. Rivers with time down the middle. Touchdown, Chambers. '27 yards.
Chambers was wide open from the snap of the ball. He ran down the middle of the field with his arm up in the air. It took Philip Rivers a second to find him, but he did. The play-action fake held the linebacker. It must have been a blown coverage. It should have been a safety over the top. You'll see the play-action to LaDainian. You have to believe there should have been some help over the middle. David Harris probably, but he bit that play-action. You just can't let a Chris Chambers run down the middle of the field untouched.
5th consecutive game with a touchdown catch for Chambers, who already has 4 in the first 2.5 games.
Jets came in here, and everybody on San Diego said they don't give up big plays. They don't give up plays, ever. They keep giving up big plays, don't they, tonight?
Well, the decision to go for the onside kick for the Jets does not work as the Chargers punch him right back in 5 quick plays and 44 yards. The Charger touchdown set up by a fumble recovery, the interception by Cromartie, and the inability to recover the onside kick. 24-14. Washington will take another shot at a good return. Cannot get to the outside that time. Tim Dobbins makes the tackle. The touchdown.
Well, you'll see it right here. There's Chris Chambers. He's going to attack the middle of the field when these safeties divide. There's a big void in the middle of the field that Chambers gets to because the middle linebacker, David Barrett, did not get to his deep middle responsibility. Once those safeties divide, someone has got to take the space in the middle of the field. Philip Rivers read it beautifully, as did Chris Chambers. He was running down the field with his arm up in the air.
That's tough cover for David Harris to get that far back, isn't it?
Of course it is, but that's his job.
Wow.
In the middle linebacker, you divide those safeties, you got to haul your butt back there.
Favre and the Jets take over from 17. Within Lavernius Coles to the near side. Caught a touchdown earlier. Cromartie tackles him after a gain of 3.
Well, this is the type of game now. It's getting into a little bit of a throw ball game. You know, we have the magic of Favre. We've seen it through the years. These are the kind of games that Brett loves to get into, just dropping back and slinging the ball all over the field.
What does he have the deep threat like he had in Green Bay?
No, there's not a speed guy. Yeah. Brian Schottenheimer's going to have to design big plays for this offense.
Second and 7 throw to Thomas Jones. Shakes at the sideline. Did a nice job to get the first down as he lost Sean Phillips, the linebacker.
You talked about how Favre would throw 48 passes tonight. He may throw them in the first half.
He may have to.
Yeah. I mean, this is the jeopardy, isn't it? I mean, this is where you say to yourself, if you're a Jets fan, yes, we love Brett Favre. Yes, we want Brett Favre. But every once in a while, we wonder, is he going to complete it to our guys? Is he going to complete it to somebody else when he's playing from behind? And you know he has to throw all the time.
Brad Smith in the game as a receiver. Good read of the play right from the start by Marcus Harris. Outside linebacker makes the tackle. We talked so much about Sean Merriman and his impact on this Charger defense. I talked to Sean just about a half hour before we went on the air tonight, and he's down in Miami after getting his surgery. Things look well for an on-time recovery to get him back next year. He said it was very difficult to watch last week, and the inability of anybody on the defense to come up with the big play. That's what he did so often. Think back to the playoff games, Tennessee and Indianapolis last year. That's where the Chargers have to step up without Merriman, in addition to pass rush. Second and 9, the blitz picked up by the Jets. Can Favre make something happen? Incomplete. Smith, the intended receiver, covered by a good cornerback, Quentin Jammer. Charger shaken up in the backfield. It's Luis Castillo is the player injured for San Diego, their outstanding defensive end out of Northwestern. So as they look at Castillo, will step out.
Can't you just smell the fresh coffee now? And for only $1.
Concern with the San Diego fans. Luis Castillo, the injured player, their starting defensive end, their first-round pick out of Northwestern back in 05. Let's take a look right side of your screen.
Yeah, Luis Castillo, number 93, being blocked by Thomas Jones, and you'll see the knee bends backward, and that's not the way that knee was created.
Castillo's signed through 2014 after being extended 5 years with the Chargers. Born in Brooklyn, a New York-born guy who went to high school in New Jersey. Chargers have a lot of different names on the field for defense compared to when they were good at the end of last year. So they hope that this is not a serious injury with Castillo, and it's good to see him walking off under his own power.
Mike, it's incredible that he's walking off the field that way. I mean, that looked like a very serious knee injury when I first looked at it on the replay. And there's Ted Cottrell. He's already thinking, boy, I got enough guys going down. I got to mix and match more at that defensive end spot. You know, Ted's been under fire a little bit, Mike, as you said earlier, because they have defense has not played well this year. But you know, they struggled in the beginning of last year and they came on strong. So, you know, we all want these instantaneous results. Give them a little time.
They allowed over 30 points in 4 of their first 8 games last year, and have given up 65 in the first 2. Favre, that pass is intercepted by Eric Weddle, the safety, who stayed in bounds, so the play is still alive. He's knocked down, running into his fellow safety, Clinton Hart. That's the second time Favre threw to an area where no Jet receiver was. And another New York turnover.
And Mike, this is just communication breakdowns with Brett Favre and his receiving corps. You may know the play when you draw it in the playbook, but once the ball is snapped, you have to make adjustments. Here you can see the receiver running to the inside, Jericho Cotchery. Brett throws the ball to the outside. These are adjustments that are made after the ball is snapped. It's clear that the Jets wide receivers and Brett Favre are not seeing the field through the same eyes.
Whose fault is it in that case?
I couldn't tell you because I don't know the adjustments they make to their patterns when
But
they get a.
are you suggesting that it's the receivers who have the obligation to make the adjustment?
No, both have to be on the same page.
Chargers, third consecutive takeover in Jets territory, and Sione Bua tackles LaDainian Tomlinson. That's such a good point, Ron, because so much of the Favre moments have happened on ad-lib plays, extending plays, as Weddle comes up with the interception on that one. And when you have situations like that, the interception Cromartie should have had, nobody's in the area. It could very well be Favre not knowing the offense
yet. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to put the blame on someone because I don't know their adjustments. But clearly, the communication is not there.
Stretching it out to Tomlinson. First time we've kind of seen a little bit more of a burst from LT. Yard shy of the first down. Mike DeVito, backup defensive end, makes the tackle.
This is what everybody talked about, though, when Favre went to the Jets. How long would it take him to learn an entirely new system with, different play calling letters or numbers or whatever? You would think, at least I would think, by the third game, there'd be more for him. You shaking your head no?
No, I'm shaking my head no, because I believe it takes years to complete.
He doesn't have years.
I know that. But, like I said, I believe that's how long it takes. You talk to coaches around the league, they will echo that same sentiment. You may learn the plays, but to execute them and adapt to the changes after the ball snap, I believe it takes years.
Well, if it takes years and you've just hired a guy who's about to be 39,
I agree. You don't have years.
So I would think that somebody of that stature who comes right in, that receivers would talk to him and know what he wants and what he likes, and it wouldn't be so evident that they didn't.
Well, we saw Michelle's report. She was talking about what was taking place in the sideline. When did you ever see that with Brett Favre?
Darren Sproles takes it to the 26-yard line, giving LaDainian Tomlinson a spell for a moment. And the Chargers are moving it pretty well on this Jets offense.
This Charger offense right now in this quarter look like the Charger offense of old, sustaining, methodical. For the first couple of games, maybe because the scores in those games, they had to be kind of a throw ball, explosive team. But right now, they've kind of found their water level right now. Good balance on offense.
Made easier without Chris Jenkins on the nose for the Jets in the locker room with that back injury. Sproles able to get the first down at the 20-yard line. David Harris, David Barrett with the tackle. Chargers chance to extend their 10-point lead, and Sproles has done a very nice job spelling Tomlinson through this couple of weeks with the toe injury for LT.
I'm not sure that you can overstate this. They're 0-2. And they don't want to go 0-3, and they're at home, and everybody in that building this week knows that this is a critical game.
Well, it's a critical game for the Jets. You think they want to go 1-2?
Not as critical.
Okay.
Tomlinson try to get to the outside. Sean Ellis combines with Eric Barton for the stop. And you talk about the patience of Norv Turner's offense. This is a team that throws it very well, but establishing that run is so important for San Diego, and getting Tomlinson going in the first half, because you don't know if you're going to have him for the second half. He told us Saturday, by the second half, that toe may start to bother me like it did last week, and I may not be able to go. So I'll give him as many snaps as I can out of the gate.
You just saw, the number of run versus pass, 17 run, 13 passes. Good balance right now.
5 in the pattern. The fullback, Tolbert, gets it. Mike's tackled by Eric Barton. It'll be near the first down forward progress, marked right around the 10.
Such a great advantage when your fullback can be a good receiver. As the defense expands, you got that fullback that you can check out the backfield, those angle routes and check downs, and catch the football and give you positive yards. Tolbert is a guy that they love as a receiver, especially when they get in this red zone area. They like to use him in those angle routes matched against a linebacker.
They had Lorenzo Neal in that job, 4-time Pro Bowler. We'll see him next week with Baltimore.
He couldn't catch, Mike. He could block like hell.
Finishing your point. Giving him a different dimension. San Diego timeout. Third and short coming up.
player.
I work for Sharps Magazine.
USC and Mark Sanchez. First game after the Ohio State game. First conference game. It's the Beavers of Oregon State. College football primetime. 9 Eastern Thursday night, ESPN. Out of the San Diego called timeout. 3rd and 1. Tomlinson. Not a lot of ground gained, but might be enough for the first down as Kerry Rhodes and Eric Barton made the stop.
I believe he got just enough for the first down.
It'll be 1st and goal. And a penalty-free first half to this point.
Well, that's good.
Thank you for that.
You like that in-depth analysis?
Thank you for that, yeah. Short, but to the point.
Tomlinson, 14 carries, guys, 41 yards tonight. And gets 5 more. Tripped up. You can almost sense San Diego just pounding away the Jets defensive line and controlling the line of scrimmage too.
That is the key. Without Chris Jenkins, the Jets defensive line is struggling right now.
Well, everybody says he was the big change. They paid him $20 million guaranteed. They put weight clauses in his contract. He could make up to $750,000 by making the weight prescribed in the contracts. If he's not there, if he's the big change, he's not there. Come on.
And he was dominant the first 2 weeks. He was playing at a very high level.
Tomlinson marked down shy of the 6. Rivers, Gates, got it. Touchdown. On the rookie, Dwight Lowry.
Well, when you have a tight end at 6'4", 260 pounds, match against 5'11", advantage to Antonio Gates. Terrific throw by Phillip Rivers. You'll see the move right here. Lowry at that inside position. This is the old meet me at the corner route. Just run to that corner and I'll throw the football up. And I say meet me at the corner because an old coach of mine, Sid Gilman, who had great success here in San Diego, that's how he would teach it. Meet me at the corner.
Well, that's 3 touchdown passes for Rivers in the first half. 9 in the first 3 games, and another Jet mistake. This time the interception turns into the touchdown. So 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for Rivers in this young season.
Rivers is very much revered by his teammates in San Diego because of what happened last year in the final playoff game, where he ended up playing most of the game on a torn ACL. And, Jaws, you've been in locker rooms. What does that mean when people look at a quarterback and they think that he will withstand any amount of pain and go out and play?
Well, it's invaluable because it sets a tempo for the football team. You know, you watch other players. You see LaDainian Tomlinson. You know, he's got the toe. You know, he's gutting up. He's going out there. You look at Clinton Hart, the safety. He had surgery Monday, you know, on his wrist. He's back out there playing. I think when your quarterback shows that physical toughness, because you always have to be mentally tough in this game. We spoke about amnesia after the interception. He rebounded from that. But players look at you differently after you come back from an injury like that, or you play with an injury like he played with that torn ACL in the Jets game.
Nobody plays without he went out and played.
You win in the locker room. Right. And Phillip Rivers won in the locker room.
The Jets have turned it over 3 times. It's turned into 3 San Diego touchdowns. 31-14. Ahmad Carroll has gone back with Leon Washington. Brad Smith went back to the locker room. And another nice return. Washington seeking the outside. He makes such good smooth shifts. Pulled down as Kading caught up with him, the kicker, at midfield. Great field position for Favre. 45-yard return. Ron, take us back to Rivers.
Yeah, he's playing very well. You can see the maturity in Phillip Rivers' game in the pocket. You know, it's the subtle movement when there's pressure. He doesn't break down his mechanics. He senses where the opening is, buys little time, allows Buster Davis to come clear. Very similar right here. Plants on that back foot, nothing there, steps up in the pocket. Once again, Buster Davis coming clear. Good poise in the pocket, good awareness in the pocket, the subtle moves to throw the football.
Those 9 touchdown passes this year for Rivers gives him the NFL lead through 3 weeks. Jay Cutler in Denver has 8. Thomas Jones seeking space and finding it. former Virginia back, whose brother Julius had a big game for Seattle yesterday. Gains about 8.
Can I ask the unthinkable of you,
Sure.
Jaws? Pressure on Brett Favre right here.
Yes.
National audience.
Yes.
He's had a number of passes intercepted already.
Yes.
What's he supposed to do? I need more than yes.
You said you wanted short answers
Well,
today.
sometimes.
No, there's
Not
no
all the
question.
time.
You know, this is what Brett Favre has been known to do. Rally his football team when there have been big deficits. Now he's on a big stage. Can he do it?
Second and 2 pass is complete for the first down, as it's taken out of bounds by Jericho Cotchery. You know, you see the turnovers that the Jets have made, guys, and it may answer the question that many Jet fans had. Why aren't you more open? Why did you run it 3 times on 1st and goal? We all expect Eric Mangini and his new quarterback and everybody to be ready to play at the highest level week 1, and everything you guys talked about for a month might be true. It's just going to take time.
Couldn't agree with you more, Mike.
The 33, blitz picked up. Good job to call it in by Cotchery. He's going to gain about 3.5 yards, and we'll get to the 2-minute warning.
I want to be able to answer that question when we come back from the perspective of a fan, why they expect it right now with Brett Favre.
A couple of moments away from the Toyota halftime show. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson take us through the fastest 3 minutes. Talk about the Patriots as they're at panic level after Miami ran the Wild Hog wild crazy. And TJ look ahead to the second half. All coming up on the Toyota halftime show. Our first penalty of the night. We get to hear from Pete Morelli, our referee.
False start. Number 65 offense. 5-yard penalty still, second down.
Tom Brandon Moore used to be a defensive lineman. So Brett Favre trying to rally the Jets. You say Favre and rallies, that we've seen so many of them. Well, he's never won a game, ever won a game after trailing by more than 14 points.
Ever?
I'd have lost that bet.
Wow, I would have lost.
I'd have lost that bet.
Ever in the NFL with 161 wins, none of them have come from down 14.
Incredible.
Or more, 14 plus. Like we are tonight, plus 17. Favre, who threw a pass from over the line of scrimmage last week, runs for a couple. Then Luis Castillo back in the game. Yes, it is. Running him down. Great to see for San Diego.
Let me get back to that point, too. As you say, it takes a long time to integrate yourself into an offense, and why do fans expect it to be immediate?
Are you going to tell me?
Fans of the Jets have one highlight in 45 years. They got Joe Namath with his finger in the air going, we're number one. It's been an awfully long time. You get Favre, you figure you're going to win right now. The buzz is amazing on this guy, but he's 38, going to be 39 in 2 weeks. If he can't win now, I mean, he gives them hope. Of course they expect it now.
3rd and 9, Dustin Keller's been good tonight for the Jets. He's out as a tight end. Favre about to get hit and brought down by Sean Phillips. And the sack takes them out of field goal range.
The Chargers are bringing pressure. That's what their defense is about. In passing situations, 19 of them, they've blitzed 7 times. They have a sack, the first one there, and 2 interceptions. Ted Cottrell is turning up the heat, and it's effective right now.
Untouched Sean Phillips coming in for the sack there as Keller released out for the pass. So Ben Graham set to kick for the Jets. Aaron Sproles going to let it bounce, and the Jets will down it at the 4-yard line. So it has been a struggle for Favre tonight, and the Jets 70 yards passing on 17 throws and a couple that have gone the other way. Antonio Cromartie with the interception. He took back all the way for the touchdown. As the Jets were driving, he's able to find the back of the end zone, and Lavernius Coles for their first touchdown hookup. But we've seen a couple of these. Complete miscommunication with no receiver in the area, and that time Eric Weddle was able to catch it and pick it, and you see the numbers for Favre and Rivers here tonight.
Think they're interested in Green Bay watching this game? think a bunch of fans are interested in making comparisons,
No question about it.
making mental notes about Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and decisions that were made earlier in the summer.
Really? Right on, Tony.
You guys really think Jacob Hester with the run? Don't you think everybody else has let go of this deal?
No, I don't. I don't think people. I mean, I think that Favre was the story all summer and is the preeminent player, and people are still making those comparisons. I do.
Wow. I think they're still pulling for Favre in Green Bay, to be honest. But I think
Well, they're pulling for him, yeah, but they want to know who made the right call in this.
Chargers averaging 31 in their first 2 games, get 31 in the first half, and San Diego gets the ball to start the 3rd quarter. Chargers looking for their first win, up 17. Here's Chris Berman, Toyota halftime show.
Hi, Michael. Thank you very much. Well,
Well, it's a little bit better for San Diego than it has been the first 2 weeks. Welcome back to Monday Night Football with Ron Jaworski, Tony Kornheiser, Mike Tirico. 31-14, guys, as San Diego gets the ball with the lead here to start the 3rd quarter. What is the column you'd be sitting down to start to bang out here at halftime?
The column right now, it starts with Philip Rivers as a kid putting a poster of Brett Favre on his wall at home and getting a chance to play him, doing exactly what Rivers needs to do to help his team get out of 0-2, and Favre cooperating. Favre throwing the ball all over the place for sometimes easy interceptions.
Well, since you mentioned Favre, as I spin into the second half, what the Jets are going to have to do is protect him better. They have to do a better job of allowing plays to develop down the field. It's been a short passing game. That's not going to get it done. They got to start attacking deeper.
Jets tried an onside kick in the first half. San Diego took the short field for a touchdown. Darren Sproles, who had a kick return last week, only gets past the 20-yard line on this kick return. All right, let's check the Stars and their numbers through 30 minutes. See, both Favre and Rivers have completed 10 balls. Favre only 10 completions for 70 yards, and 3 interceptions for these guys, 2 by Favre. Tomlinson, a lot of short rushes. 5 was his longest rush for a good stretch there in the first half. Jericho Cotchery catching 3 balls from Favre, but again, no players really stood out. The offensive numbers do not fit the score on the board, 31-14. Of course, that a result of a couple of interception returns and long kickoff return we've had for touchdown. Tomlinson is stopped. No game. Brian Thomas able to make the tackle.
You know, but Mike, I thought Philip Rivers did a really good job in that first half. You know, despite throwing the interception, you know, early in the game, he came back, and I love the mechanics. You'll see him, you know, flag the football, move the defense. Look at the balance. Straight up, standing tall, and delivers the ball perfectly down the field. This is a great throw right here. Small window to throw into. Lowry on the tight coverage to Gates, puts it right on his hands. It was a long handoff. Philip Rivers has played very well in the first half.
Yeah, he's played well in the first 2 games for San Diego. Second down toss for Rivers to Gates, complete. Gain of 19. First down for Antonio. Kerry Rhodes makes the tackle. Rivers is bleeding here, and they're trying to stop the bleeding. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop it long enough to keep him in there. Huh?
Well, that was a spectacular throw by Philip Rivers. When you throw that seam, you got to throw it over the linebacker, but with enough zip on it before the safety gets there. It was a great throw.
Billy Volek, the backup, laughing. He's not even going to let me get a snap against his defense. We're eating up.
That's really good right there. Philip standing tall in the pocket. You'll see it right here. He throws it over the linebacker, just enough zip before that safety or that corner could fall into it.
He's hit his last 7. Deep, it was double covered, so he has to ad-lib. And on the sideline, Tomlinson works with him well. Right near the first down, right about at midfield. You saw him come over for the blood. He's very animated. Got into that yakking match back and forth with the Broncos, the Monday night game we had on Christmas Eve. Yeah, well, let's go back a second, because he did have repair of a torn ACL back in late January. As you said, he played the entire AFC Championship game with it. Injured against Indianapolis. They went in to fix one tendon just to give him enough to go the next week. Said the knee felt very unstable throughout that game. Tomlinson runs for about 3 yards. And we just kind of take it for granted. We see guys with these ACL injuries, and they come back. But he did not miss almost any step of the offseason and the preseason, and here to answer the bell beginning of the regular season.
Well, just think back to last week in our conversations with Donovan McNabb. When he said it was really the second, it took him a long time to come back from his surgery. He really struggled, at first when he came back. Now this year, Donovan finally feels 100%, so you got to tip your hat to Phillip Rivers. It has been less than a year, and he looks very healthy and very sharp.
Getting rid of it to Sproles. Rivers kept that play alive in the pocket, and you give it to Sproles and LT and let him go. They'll go bandage Phillip up again after another big gain of 25.
The Jets have hired Teddy Atlas from boxing. The Chargers need a cut man right now to help Phillip Rivers.
Well, he's cutting up that Jets defense right now. Great poise in the pocket. He was looking to the left side. It wasn't there. He got the ability to extend the play when the pressure was on, and he found Darren Sproles. Terrific play right now from Phillip Rivers. He just looks like a quarterback who's in control of his offense right now.
Sproles is still the back with Mano Maliuna to block for him. He finds the hole so well. He got out of a tackle and down to the 2. He is, when you're listed as 5'6", either you're really, really short or really, really good, and he's both.
Well, right now, the Chargers offensive line is gashing the defensive line for the New York Jets. Chris Jenkins out there hitting him right up the middle with great success.
Sproles goes out after this beautiful run, able to extend it with these shifty moves in the hole.
He just squirts through there.
He's under the grass.
Only Emmitt Smith and Marcus Allen have more rushing touchdowns than LaDainian Tomlinson, who adds to his total with number 116.
There are fantasy players all over America happy to see LaDainian Tomlinson in the end zone. It's been a while.
Props to the San Diego Chargers offensive line. They took the Jets defensive front and put them in the end zone. You'll see it right here. They come off with a double team on the nose. Look where the defensive line and linebackers are, on the goal line or in the end zone. Tony, you maybe scored on that one.
You know what? The question that comes to mind right away? What happened to the Jets? I mean, they're just being run over at the moment. You see 4 white jerseys around every receiver, and Phillip Rivers still comfortably puts it in the receiver's grasp.
Yeah, and I'll guarantee at halftime, Eric Mangini gave him that speech that we have to stop them the opening drive and get the ball back and, make this a 2-score football game. Well, San Diego took the ball and shoved it right down their throat.
The Chargers have scored on their last 4 full possessions, and they've played 10 quarters and 1 drive and have 100 points. LT's first 6 of the year right there.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Mazda, introducing the completely 100% new Mazda 6. EA Sports Madden NFL 09, in stores now. Olive Garden, when you're here, your family. And Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Hotel Del Coronado, over in the island, from downtown San Diego, that beautiful high-arching bridge.
You ever stayed there?
I have.
I've stayed there.
Nice, great spot.
About 1,000 years ago, but I have.
I haven't.
That was in the movie Some Like It Hot, I think. That was the 70s.
Short kick trying to keep it away from Leon Washington. And it's returned by Bubba Franks, Favre's old teammate, to the 35. And now Brett has a huge hole to start digging the Jets out of. Well, we will see those jerseys. Well, we won't see the Jets Favre jersey, but we'll see those players represented in Canton, Ohio someday in the Hall of Fame. LT found the end zone a moment ago. Favre has struggled here tonight. Thomas Jones cuts it back and runs down to the 30. Now let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Hey, Mike, I spoke with Eric Mangini at halftime, and I asked him specifically about the breakdowns and miscommunication between Brett Favre and his receivers. He would not lay any of the blame directly on Favre. In fact, he said what we need is our receivers to run cleaner routes more consistently, and he did give a lot of credit to the Chargers defense for disrupting the Jets' drives, Mike.
Thank you, Michelle. cleaner routes. 2nd and 4. Time for Favre down the middle. That one's caught for the first down. Held on to by Lavernius Coles into San Diego territory at the 44. Quentin Jammer made the tackle. The gain's 18.
Well, that was vintage Brett Favre. He had to hang in the pocket to throw the deep dig. You'll see him hang and hang and hang. He knows the pressure's coming. That's a great throw. Throws a strike to Coles, and watch him come over the top, take the hit from Olshansky the minute the ball goes out of his hand.
Back to Jones, dancing for space. Eric Weddle is now the starting safety. Came in there, gain of about 4.
I'm wondering if at halftime Brett Favre sat alone in the corner and said, why did I come back? Is this really what I want? I mean, because it's no fun out here tonight, and the traffic in New Jersey is killing me, you know, and I could have sat down. I mean, I just wonder if his thoughts go to that at all ever in a game like this.
I don't think so.
They pulled 2 linemen to run block for Jones, who gets about 3 yards. 3rd and 3 coming up. He did talk about the whole process and the adjustment and taking the playbook home, learning the new offense.
Yes.
It is not though easy to the point, and you said traffic, and people may have snickered or laughed.
Oh.
He said, it was a great line, there's so many things about Green Bay that I didn't appreciate. You know, the comfort, it's all about football, the traffic.
Convenience, he said. I used to get wherever I needed to go in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Now it's a minimum of 20 minutes, and that's probably just to go to the corner. You know, those are things you think about when you're 38.
Officially 3rd and 4 here. And Favre tries the quick one. Good job to catch it and get the first down by Jericho Cotchery just past the 30-yard line.
He was, and I'll get this in now, he was waxing poetic about Green Bay and how special a town Green Bay was. He said that people care about football all year long in Green Bay. He said there's a high percentage of people in New York who couldn't care less that I'm a Jet, whereas when Reggie White was brought to Green Bay, there wasn't one household in Wisconsin that didn't know about it. And I think he misses that sort of adoration that football players get there.
After the non-pass interference call on the Jets, 1st and 10 at the 29. Big pump, Favre into double coverage for Keller. Dustin couldn't pull it down. The rookie tight end meant Cromartie and Clinton Hart in the end zone.
Yeah, and Clinton Hart did a really good job of not biting on the pump fake of Brett Favre. Brett is so good at manipulating the safeties. On this play, he pumped his right, tried to get Hart to move over there. Hart did not bite and broke the play up. Good discipline on Clinton Hart's part. Former arena player, by the way. I just thought I'd get our arena plug.
Oh, wait. Is there a Philadelphia Soul reference coming?
This guy's a great story. He's with the Tallahassee Thunder in Arena Football 2.
Right.
He was making $162 a week.
How can you
And now
know
here
that?
It's my job. It's what I do.
How can you know that?
As my former friend Mr. Myers would say. Here's a rocket from Favre, complete to Cotchery to the 15-yard line. The Jets trying to get a good drive here. That's one thing they can do in this game because they have to throw a lot. Maybe find some of that timing and chemistry you only get in the game.
Mike, I totally agree. And Favre right here, there seems to be a purpose in his game right now. He's hanging the pocket, better protection. You give Favre time, he'll find somebody open. I mean, once again, you see one of these Favre lasers right here on the curl pattern. Just a heck of a throw to Cotchery.
Jones runs it just shy of the 11-yard line for Thomas. Always a big volume back. 310-plus carries last year for the Jets. Over 1,000 yards.
Probably the longest they've held the ball all night, right? The Jets? This sequence?
Number of plays, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and again, the problem for the Chargers defense, the first 2 games, they couldn't get off the field. They faced 146 snaps. That's the most of any defensive team in the NFL through 2 games.
Couple of tight ends. Favre, sack. Tried to get rid of it and throw it forward. It's going to be ruled a sack. Back to the 25-yard line for Sean Merriman's replacement, Giles Tucker. The initial ruling on the field is a sack.
It was sacked. Right at 3rd down.
Good call. That's in super slow. It's a hard call to make live, but a good play by Tucker. Free agent out of Wake Forest, undrafted, came to the Chargers. His role stepped up big time when Merriman was injured with the knee.
Yeah, Mike, at practice on Saturday, watching the Chargers defense as they were working the Jets offense, they were really prepared for that rollout to the right. Stay at home if Brett Favre rolls out, because he will roll to the right.
The Jets timeout. They have 3rd and 19 coming up. 3rd and long. Out of the Jets call timeout. Many of the fans in the lower bowl on their feet in San Diego. Screen for Leon Washington. 3 good downfield blocks, couple yards shy of the first down. 24-point game here. 20 minutes left in the game. I think you'd go for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a 3-score game. 3 touchdowns and 3 two-point conversions. So you have to score 3 times. You got to get the first one. Some people may counter with make it a 3-score game, take it to 21, where you need 3 touchdowns. But I think right here, you've got to punch one in. You got to go for it.
I always think you got to go for it, but that's why I defer to you. I just think it's fun. What do I care? I'm not playing.
You've actually said go for 2 every time.
That's right. Go for 2.
We're going to get an injury timeout here, guys. Giles Tucker was slowed after that play. Charger training staff on the field. 4th down for Favre coming up.
Trying to run a...
We see the writers in the press box.
Typing feverishly. Want to get out before the crowd leaves, and they stuck in traffic.
They have to interview the players. Well, nobody's thrown more touchdown passes in the red zone than Brett Favre. His team faces 4th and 4. Down 24. To the end zone, dropped by Clinton Hart, who had a lot of room to run with it too. So San Diego will take over at their own 9. Remember, Clinton Hart has that hand injury, had surgery on his hand on Monday. Said it was going to be tough to play with the cast and catch a Favre laser.
Well, he did a heck of a job right here. He's on Justin Keller and just held his position, knowing that if the ball had to come out, the clock runs for a defensive back too. He knew the ball had to come out in a certain time, and Clinton Hart should have had the interception. But it was amazing with the Chargers on Saturday, talking to them, the defensive backs, they all felt Brett's going to throw us a couple. Maybe 3, maybe 4. We got to catch him.
11-play, 59-yard drive. Jets get nothing out of it. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers from the 9 with LT, who gets 3. Sports Center right now. We're set for the update. Here's Steve Levy.
All right, Mike, Raiders head coach Lane Kiffin said he has not been told by Al Davis that he is not the head coach. Until he hears that, he'll keep plugging along. Don't sweat that double negative. And Redskins defensive end Jason Taylor will miss next week's big game against the Cowboys, underwent a minor procedure on his calf that'll bring to an end his 133 consecutive games played streak. Sports Center after the game. Mike, back to you in San Diego.
Thanks, Leaves. It's like the old Saturday Night Live skit with General Francisco Franco, right?
It's still dead.
Lane Kiffin is still the coach of the Raiders. About a couple-yard run here for LaDainian Tomlinson. We have a couple of former Raider coaches working tonight. Bill Callahan's an assistant for the Jets, and Norv Turner, the head coach here with the Chargers, was in Oakland in 04 and 05, was with Washington, won a division with the Redskins back in the late 90s, and the division last year after the 1-3 start with the Chargers.
That was, we talked about, or I've talked about Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers being the great gambler of 2008. Norv Turner was the great gambler of 2007, replacing Marty Schottenheimer. Could he not only get to the playoffs, could he win a playoff game, which Marty did not, and he won 2. That gamble paid off.
3rd and 6. To Sproles for the first down. It's developed into a terrific complement to the many weapons San Diego has.
Let me mention Norv Turner, something he said to us the other day. He said he doesn't want to be caught up in what he called the skies falling perception. San Diego's obviously come out well tonight. I talked to A.J. Smith at halftime, the general manager of the team, and he said, look, you understand the numbers at 0-3. Of course, you don't want to go at 0-3. You understand what that means for playoffs and stuff like that. But he said the numbers that are important to us are Game 4, Game 8, and Game 12. Where are we there? And at Game 12, are we in position to take off, make the playoffs, and do something? So, though everyone thought there was a panic here, myself included, that they had to be panicked, at least outwardly, both the coach and the general manager and Mike, many of the players say there was no panic.
But when coaches put a season together, they do it in blocks of 4 games. In the first 4 games, what's our record? After 8 games, what's our record? They don't look. They don't play it game to game, and they don't even look at it as a 16-game schedule. They look at it 4 games.
That's exactly
in each quadrant.
A.J. Smith said, "I know you guys in the press look at it from week to week, and that's your job, but we can't look at it as week to week."
Second and 8, Rivers to Mano Maliuna, the tight end. Brought down by Vernon Golston. It's his first NFL tackle for the #1 pick of the Jets, 6th overall out of Ohio State. Rivers hit his 11th consecutive pass.
And Phillips having his way right now. He's feeling the pressure in the pocket. The Jets are picking up their blitz pressure. Phillips is feeling it, reading it, get the ball out of his hand, and he's finding his secondary receivers. The Jets doing a good job of taking away the primary. Phillips going number 2, number 3, and even number 4 for completions.
Back to Golston for a second, who made that tackle. Eric Mangini telling us that the NCAA rule that doesn't allow you to go work with your NFL team until graduation slowed his progress in camp in the offseason. Rivers' deep ball incomplete, intended for Chris Chambers. That plus the contract holdout at the start, it just was the number of practices and reps that Golston missed, and it's been slow for him to catch on. Plus, he's also making the transfer from the 4-3 to the 3-4. So folks in New York are a little uptight. There's some patience with the Jets with their #1 defensive pick right now.
Well, Mike, there should have been a little concern. Week 1 against Miami, played 33 snaps. Week 2 against Patriots, he played 12 snaps. And in those 45 snaps, didn't have a tackle or an assist.
Hello to Mike Cyphers. First punt tonight for the Chargers, and it took 44 minutes to do it. They tried to push Leon Washington into touching the ball and then picking it up. Favre back on the field, and the F for Favre also stands for frustration on this night. Jets take over at their own 17. Playoff team 2 years ago, 4-12 last year. Staring at 1-2, unless they have one of the great comebacks we've seen in recent times. Down 24, final minute, 3rd quarter. Brad Smith on the field. Pressure from San Diego. Chancey Stuckey, second-year man out of Clemson, thrown down at the 29, first down. He caught a touchdown each of his first 2 games. Jets have brought some big names in. Alan Faneca from Pittsburgh. Get fullback Tony Richardson in on the defensive side as well. A lot of money spent this year by New York.
Oh, $20 million to Chris Jenkins, right? $21 million guaranteed to Faneca, $11 million to Damian Woody, $22 million to Calvin Pace. This is before Favre got here. They thought they were going to be real good with Chad Pennington. We put the focus on Favre because people like me are in love with him, but they thought they'd be good before he got there.
First down, Favre throw is incomplete. Lavernius Coles looks for and sees the flag. This will be the first penalty on the Chargers here tonight.
Pass interference, number 31, the defense. Automatic first down.
On Cromartie, I guess that won't be a reason for losing tonight, the officiating, since that's their first penalty.
Going further with the Jets and all the money that they spent, why did they do that? Well, the new stadium they share with the Giants makes them one of the richest teams on the Forbes list in the league. And because they were so far behind the Giants after the Giants won the Super Bowl, they wanted to create a buzz. Favre was sort of the last piece of that, and it created a sensation. But they should be better, Jaws.
They're not playing well. I would agree with you, Tony.
Favre hit as he threw, lucky to get it out to Chris Baker, who got his contract extension done. Favre gingerly comes back to the line, says, I think we'll take our shots in the 4th quarter. Let me catch my breath.
And I think, the Jets will look at the season the same way that the Chargers did. Let's look at a 4-game block. Let's see what happens, how this plays out after 4 games. Obviously, Brett Favre is out of sync with this offense. It will take time. Then they'll look at that 2nd quadrant, 3rd and 4th, and hopefully get enough wins to get them in the playoffs.
Squeezing one more play in. It is once again Cotchery, who's been effective on the catch and run. Another first down for the Jets at the 45. And off we go to the fourth quarter. San Diego by 24.
Look at this.
Walls, he was growing up in Athens, Alabama. Good numbers here tonight. His second opportunity to play against Favre. It was a shootout last year when San Diego went up to Green Bay. Part of that 1-3 tough start the Chargers had. Rivers the better of business tonight. Now, Favre has passed his pass attempt total for the first 2 games. His 26th throw of the night complete to Coles, down at the 40. We talk about Rivers idolizing Favre. This moment sticks out for Phillips.
The one most recent, I guess, is in the snow last year in the playoffs. You know, he's stumbling and he can't get his balance, and he flips it underhand. It didn't score, but I think a huge first down. You know, he's throwing a snowball at a guy. I mean, here's a guy who's been playing in 250 games, and he's having the same fun as if it was his first game in the NFL.
And Phillips said, I was so disappointed we didn't win that game up in Green Bay. I want to tell my kids when I'm older, hey, I was 1-0 against that guy. And then when he got traded, say, I'll get another chance to play against him. Favre up in the air, battling for it was Cotchery, covered by Cletus Gordon, and it's incomplete. And Rivers will have a chance to tell his kid maybe I did beat Favre, you know, 1-1. You know, Brett was on the field before the game in a shocking development. He was chatting with us. He loves to talk. He told me something interesting, though. He said, this Jets team doesn't have the enthusiasm when they make plays, when they make big plays. He said that's something that he hopes that they can bring more of, that fun for the game that he yearns for. He came back for Sundays. Hasn't been the situation, but hasn't been shown. He'd like to see more of that from his team, and it'll come with more success. Cotchery can't get the first down. Good tackle to keep him a yard shy by Cletus Gordon again.
Everybody says the same thing about Favre who faces him. They talk about, they may not use the word irrepressible, but what they say is that he still plays the game as if he's in 6th grade or 8th grade, and they point to when he, you know, receiver catches a touchdown pass and he goes over and picks him up and stuff like that. I just heard, and I think you did too, Mike, in Rivers' voice, you know, you hear that sort of admiration from one Southern quarterback to another Southern quarterback growing up in the same area, right?
One from Alabama.
Yeah, Mississippi.
Mississippi. 4th and 1 throw. And the first down picked up with the tight end, Chris Baker to the 26. Steve Gregory with the tackle.
You know, this may be meaningless minutes in the game, but they are critical for the development of this New York Jets offense. The fact that Favre is playing, they're throwing the football. This will serve them well down the road. Eric Mangini wants to see how this team is going to perform here in the 4th quarter.
Quick out of your hands and plays after the catch. That was a lot of the equation with Green Bay. Chancey Stuckey, the grab there.
It's good that Mangini wants to see how they'll perform because he can't leave till after the 4th quarter, so he's going to have to watch anyway. I'm glad he's enthusiastic about it.
Eric's 37 years old. He's now the 3rd oldest coach in the NFL.
He's a kid.
3rd youngest, I should say. First down. Complete to the 15-yard line for Stuckey again.
But that's only because Kiffin's still coaching at this moment.
Right. Yeah, Mike Tomlin's 36, Kiffin's 33.
The Jets have gone to this spread offense now. Empty backfield, no one in the backfield. A 5 wide receiver look, and it's effective for him.
He's throwing these 4 5-yard passes. Coles able to hang on to that one in front of Kaysen. 3 minutes gone by here in the 4th.
You know, if you look at Brett Favre historically, you know, we do remember some of those bombs like he threw in Denver way down the field. But for the most part, he's been a high percentage short passer and a very accurate short passer because they always get yards after the catch.
Up top, incomplete flag for pass interference. Chris Baker was the intended receiver. The Chargers are trying to say it was uncatchable.
Well, it was uncatchable because he hit him.
Yeah.
There's no foul for pass interference. The pass was uncatchable. Third down.
Not so sure I agree with that call. Been that kind of night for the Jets.
Oftentimes that gets adjusted to illegal contact or defensive holding once you say it was uncatchable. Here's a look. And it should have been illegal contact or defensive holding, one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. I agree with you, Mike. But we got nothing.
On that third down. First down away to the 5. And a yard shy of it with Kachuri. Pushed out by Gordon. This has been a good night for the San Diego defense. A focus on the Jets because of their inabilities to get going with offense this season. But the San Diego defense was just flat out bad in the first half of the first 2 games. You see their total is second worst in the league. And tonight they've been much better. Fourth and 1, Favre will run for it and get the first down.
What a great irony of this game. If you're a San Diego fan right now, you're thinking, why aren't we 3-0? You're thinking, you know, we should have won the previous game on that call, gotten possession and won it, got beat on the last play of the game in week 1, score a lot of points. Look at us. Why aren't we 3-0?
And Favre's pass is broken up by Antoine Cason at the goal line. And Nickelback, a very good-looking rookie out of Arizona. It gives them 3 legit corners in Jammer, Cromartie, and Cason.
Yeah, this has a chance to be an outstanding secondary. And you throw in Eric Weddle in the mix. This ball's a little bit behind Stuckey on the play. Ball out near that pylon. Stuckey got a chance to make a catch.
Stuckey has a touchdown catch first 2 games. First Jet to do that since the merger. His first 2 games as a Jet. And breaking free for the touchdown is Stuckey. So make it 3 games for Chancey Stuckey in the NFL. 3 touchdowns from Brett Favre. And they'll go for 2 to try to make it a 16-point game.
Yeah, that play was actually reminiscent of the plays at the end of the game last week where Cutler had a lot of time to find people open, and here Brett Favre has a lot of time to find people open, and he does.
First 2-point conversion attempt for the Jets. The Chargers have given up a 2-point conversion. I don't need to remind San Diego fans of that. And this will turn into no points as Phillips and Castillo meet at Favre. 18-point Charger lead.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by the GMC Sierra, official vehicle of the NFL and proud supporter of those who never say never. IBM, when you're ready to stop talking innovation and start doing, visit IBM.com/doing. And NFL.com Fantasy, your source for fantasy stats, news, highlights, and more.
Back in San Diego, Chargers by 18. That was a all Favre drive, all throws in the 1-yard sneak. And Chancey Stuckey catches his 3rd touchdown from Favre, quickly moving up that list. It's only 54 behind Antonio Freeman. Most touchdown passes caught from Favre, 57.
I don't think he'll catch it.
No, I'm not guessing no. I did giggle when I was talking to Favre on the field before the game. He said, no, talking about the whole Jets scene here. He said, you know, I mean, I hope that can make a good impact for the next, you know, however long it lasts, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Onside kick potentially here with the Jets, sure. Down 18. It got through the hands of Cromartie and is recovered by the Jets. So Antonio Cromartie who showed great ball skills last year, missed an interception in week 2, missed an interception earlier tonight, may have hurt himself here as he let that ground ball go through the 5-hole, recovered by the Jets. All right, the Jets will take over at the 43. The injured Charger was Tim Dobbins, who gets up and walks off with some help. The recovery was by Vernon Golston of the Jets. So there's the first impact that Golston has made.
Good night for him so far.
First tackle, first recovery. You saw the Favre numbers on that last drive, mostly against a prevent-type defense. 18-point games. The Jets do score a touchdown. You go for 1 to make it an 11-point game. Keep that in your mind. And if that happens, you can still have a game. Favre completing it to Chris Baker, gain of 9 for the tight end from Michigan State.
You know, Michael, Brett Favre has so many great physical attributes. One we overlook is great field vision. Pumps there. He looks right. He pumps there. He looks over the middle. Nothing there. Keeps the play alive. He looks back to the left side. He sees that little seam to throw the football into and makes a terrific throw. But field vision. Brett Favre sees the field like the clock is standing still.
Now some pressure, and Lavernius Coles breaks it down the middle all the way to the 8-yard line. Nearly brought down with a horse collar by Cromartie, but look at the Jets. Damian Woody running down the field saying that should have been a horse collar on the back end of a 41-yard completion. And a quick score here would keep your finger off the remote for a few more minutes, wouldn't it?
Yeah, this up-tempo's got the Jets moving.
Favre sacked again. Third time tonight. Giles Tucker has a couple of them.
You said it would keep your finger off the remote. You weren't going where I was going with that. That what if they came back and won the game? No. That was an 0-3 circumstance for this team. Whoa, got a nightmare with that thing.
Yeah, the Brickashaw Ferguson on last plays, he got to seal that inside. Yes. He can't let Giles Tucker come underneath him that quick. And there's got to be a better pop out of the Brickashaw Ferguson.
Favre's pass for Brad Smith hit the ground. Putting Jammer over there on coverage. You'll have 3rd and goal with 9:03 to go.
But, Mike, this will be one of those situations, if you don't get the touchdown here, you can kick the field goal.
Correct.
It's an 18-point game right now. It's a 3-score game. A field goal will make it a 2-score game. So you're going to need to get 3 scores. You can take your 3 here.
Antoine Applewhite, who made his NFL debut last week, checks in at linebacker for the Chargers. Against a 4-man rush. Favre completed it to Cotchery. Cletus Gordon's had a very good second half. Another tackle, 4th and goal. And you're dead on, Jaws. You absolutely have to kick a field goal here, and they will.
Yeah, sometimes as a quarterback, you get in that situation, you think you have to make a play. This was not the situation where Brett needed to throw one up. He needed to be judicious with the football. He was, and they'll settle for 3.
Jay Feely's kicking for Mike Nugent, who's hurt. Ben Graham, who has been holding all along, is back at the holder. The man who was cut on Tuesday, re-signed on Saturday. And Feely adds the necessary 3, so it's 38-23. Let's make it a 2-score game.
What's up? Stuart Scott with the Sports Center right now. Up next on ESPN, Steve Young and Emmitt Smith join me for the GMC Sierra postgame show as we break down what is turning into an interesting football game. Plus, we will have the legend, Brett Favre, live and his reaction postgame. It's all coming up, Sports Center, after the ball game. Let's kick it back to Mike Tirico and the fellas.
Okay, Stuart, thank you. We have 10 Chargers in the 10 yards between the 40 and the 50, anticipating another Jay Feely onside kick. This will be the 3rd of the night. Mike Westhoff, the special teams coordinator the last 7 years, a cancer survivor, had major surgery in February, came back. He joins Kevin O'Day with the Jets special teams. And the Jets will kick it away and try to pin Sproles back deep. They'll go in the end zone and cover it. And the Chargers will get the ball at the 20. Jets with a full complement. Actually, 2 timeouts Jets have. Correction, 2 timeouts and 8:21 to go. So they'll need to stop Rivers and the Chargers quickly. And San Diego will take over their own 20 when we come back. Monday Night Football from a stadium that has hosted many a football game. Qualcomm Stadium, San Diego. Matter of fact, Giant Stadium, Wrigley Field, the old Cleveland Brown Stadium, old Cleveland Municipal Stadium, the LA Coliseum, the only stadiums in NFL history to have hosted more games than this one. Been around a while. First and 10 from the 20. Jets down 15 and a first down run over at 3 yards on the first play of the quarter for Tomlinson. Well, this division is being led by the Denver Broncos, who had the controversial Week 2 win. And yesterday, Brandon Marshall, 6 more catches after the 18 he got on San Diego Week 1. What do you guys think of the 3-0 Broncos?
Well, they are explosive on offense, and I don't know if there's a quarterback in the league right now that's throwing the ball as well as Jay Cutler.
They could have lost the last 2 weeks. They could have got beat by a field goal.
They could have.
Well,
they didn't.
I'm just advising you not to get carried away.
Well,
Second and 7, Rivers will go to the air. It's caught by the fullback, Tolbert. And the Jets defense will have a big chance coming up on 3rd and 2 to try to get the ball back for the offense. We talked about this at the very top. Bills, Ravens, Titans, Broncos. Raise your hand if you had that foursome.
No, nobody did.
As the leaders heading into
what would you say is the most surprising of the 4, Mike?
Don't you think the Ravens?
Yes.
2-0?
Yeah, I think it's the Ravens.
Come on, the Bills.
You love
Bills.
Stop. You love the Bills. You're from Buffalo. You
the
love
Bills
the
were a good team last year.
Ravens are 2-0 with a rookie quarterback. Come on.
Let's wait for the quarter full.
And John Harbaugh, first-year head coach. Big play, 3rd and 2, and Rivers' throw is complete for the first down to Vincent Jackson.
Mike, we talk about the size of the San Diego wide receivers. So critical when you get in these situations, when you've got to squeeze the ball in there on a 3rd and 3. You're going to get that press coverage on the outside, and then you get the big body. You can cut in front of people to snatch the ball away. Certainly when you look at Lowry, solid cornerback, but no question the size of Vincent Jackson, 6'5", was just too powerful for him.
What do we say? This would be the best intramural basketball team in the NFL. Obviously, Antonio Gates was a basketball player through his college days, where he did not play football. Tomlinson has the touchdown tonight. Under 70 yards rushing, 22 carries and 61 yards for LT.
But in there in the second half, in there late. So the presumption is that his toe is better. It's better because he's in late.
You know, for the Jets, this is when you have to bow your back defensively. Your offense got this thing within 2 scores. You know, you got to shut them down. You got to get this football back, get your score, then try the onside kick. You know, obviously an excellent throw from Phillip Rivers to Vincent Jackson. Got 1 first down. Another first down would be a stake in the heart for the Jets.
Chargers approaching 300 yards here tonight. Tomlinson for a couple. Take us close to the 5-minute mark. David Barrett to tackle. If you weren't with us at the top of the game, Barrett came up with an interception. 3.5 in, put North Turner's team in a 7-0 hole. And then went on to score 38 of the next 45.
Phillips saw something real quick and he broke the huddle and changed the play quickly.
They're 8 of 11 on 3rd down tonight. And Rivers throwing the deep ball for Vincent Jackson. Just shy to the 1-yard line. Beating the rookie David Lowry for the 2nd time tonight. 61 yards passing catch.
Mike, there is no doubt when Phillip Rivers broke the huddle, he saw something in the Jets defense. He immediately changed the formation, audible the play, made a terrific audible and even better throw. You can't throw the seam route down the field any better than that. The Jets came with their blitz pressure, no one in center field, no one helping Lowry out. Easy pitch and catch for the San Diego Chargers.
Great night for Rivers after the first interception. What a great night for him.
I love a quarterback that's seeing the field clearly, and clearly Rivers is.
Tomlinson able to push it in. Touchdown.
happy faces on the sidelines of the Jets, Mangini and Favre.
Career rushing touchdown number 117. Number 2 on the night. And number 2 on the season. 45-23. San Diego on the way to the winner's circle for the first time in 08.
Sears wants to see how.
Well, this stadium that's at the intersection of I-8 and I-15 starting to fill up those on-ramps now. Game is in hand. They've seen LT take it in a couple of times. Closing in on another great running back out here in Southern California for many years, Marcus Allen. Within 6 of Marcus's touchdown total, and number 1 on that all-time list in the house. And coming up later on SportsCenter, Emmitt Smith with 164 rushing touchdowns.
But look at the difference in games played and years in the league. The pace that LaDainian Tomlinson is on.
It's amazing.
Wow.
He is special.
And his others, his receiving touchdowns, and he has 131 career touchdowns. Jericho Cotchery has this return. Got a nice block from Brad Smith. And Cotchery taking it inside the 20. Down to the 17-yard line. Chancey Stuckey caught the touchdown earlier. Joined Brad Smith. A nice block. And a 56-yard kickoff return.
If you watch Monday Night Football this year, you can't say you haven't had a lot of scoring.
You got your money's worth. Yeah,
absolutely did.
A lot of offense on Monday Night Football.
What do we have? 78 points last week. 68 tonight. I'm going to guess we'll be slightly under that total next week with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Slightly.
Can you use them later like rollover minutes?
Favre complete. That's Dustin Keller, 30th overall pick, first round of the draft out of Purdue. It's great when Keller in Favre's first game with the Jet in preseason caught a touchdown pass. Favre kind of intimated that he wanted the ball and had the equipment guys stash it away. He signed it, left it in Keller's locker. And here's the first NFL touchdown in the regular season. Hang on to that ball, Dustin. You don't want to give it to the official. 45-29.
Yeah, he ran the jerk route. That's a tough one to defend. You get a tight end match against a linebacker, and Brett Favre makes a terrific throw right here, but the route's called a jerk route. You know why, Tony?
No, I don't.
It makes the coverage guy look like a jerk.
No.
Thanks for that.
All right, so I'll throw that in there for you.
That's good. Favre's probably got 12 balls he's already signed to all the receivers, and he just substitutes them after the game after he hits one.
I'm surprised that Keller gave up the ball there. He didn't get back his first NFL touchdown. Caught 16 touchdowns at Purdue. Jets will try to make a 16-point game, 14. Okay, you can stop. I wonder if they'll ever, this is a dead play.
No.
I wonder if they'll ever adopt the college rule where on a missed 2 you can go get 2, or on a blocked extra point you can return it all the way for 2.
You're going to get a hold in the secondary on the Chargers.
Pass interference, number 57 of the defense. The retry.
Would you have any problem with that rule, Joss?
No.
Coming in?
No.
Yeah. You can just throw these balls up for free. You can take a chance and make it think twice.
There should be a penalty for a mistake.
Makes it much more exciting.
Absolutely.
So I got one on Favre for you here, guys. Favre, at starting streak, most consecutive starts, we know 256. It started back in the early 90s in 92. When it started, Sarah Palin was running for the city council in Wasilla, and Barack Obama was organizing a Get Out the Vote campaign and on his way to becoming a lawyer. A professor, I should say.
You got another hold coming up.
You do. Flag down. A Charger down and injured, too. Steve Gregory.
Holding, number 32 of the defense. After this goal retry.
Steve Gregory hobbling off the field. Eric Weddle, another safety, like Gregory. Flag.
Maybe we should film Obama and Palin with their great Favre moments. The tribute to Brett Favre continues from both sides of the aisle.
Just some bipartisan perspective on the whole thing. I mean, you know,
I like that.
People running for president and vice president who were in far different jobs. But to be fair and balanced, Joe Biden and John McCain were in the U.S. Senate when Favre started the streak. Right. So some people have been going as long as Favre has. It is really remarkable every time you look back at how he's lasted through all these 256 consecutive regular season games.
It's amazing.
You know what I'd like
it's
to have?
amazing that many games in a row.
You mentioned, I would love to have a varsity jacket from Wasilla High School now, wouldn't you? Because it's the hottest high school in America. Wasilla, Alaska. I'd like to have that jacket.
The town is certainly
These guys have Favre jerseys. I want the Wasilla. What is their nickname, do you think?
I don't know.
Bears or something like that?
I missed that one.
You stumped Michael for the first time all season.
I didn't
know their nickname.
Well, back to Favre for a second, and you talk about the streak and the length of the streak. Philip Rivers telling us that's the most impressive part of Favre. That's the winning a Super Bowl. All of that, thank you, Alaska. Good night, Alaska. Which is not good night, Canada. He said that was the most impressive. And so then I turn around the notes in the Jets media guide and I show Rivers that Jaws is third on that list with Peyton Manning second. And he looked up at Jaws. Did you see his height? Really?
Wow.
To quarterbacks, because of what they do, it's so impressive. And it is to Rivers because he never missed a start in college. He has the NCAA record. The college record for the most consecutive starts.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, never missed a start at NC State. Over 50, including the bowl game. Wolfpack, big win this week. That'll be unabated to the quarterback. And
they're going to move it to the goal line. Just let them step inside and get the two.
Outside, number 95 of the defense, unabated to the quarterback. Half the distance, retry.
If I'm the Jets, I put Brett Favre under center here. If you get those wide tackles, run the quarterback sneak like they did a little bit earlier.
Yes.
At least present the run option.
So this would be what? This would be the 1/4 yard line because 3 consecutive penalties, half the distance from the 2 to the 1, the 1 to the half, the half to the quarter.
Yeah, this is the longest 2-point conversion in NFL history. Yeah.
And they throw for it. And it's incomplete. They throw for it from the 1/4 yard line. It'll be the 9-foot line. 9-inch line, I should say. Next Monday night, AFC North lead, the Baltimore Ravens. Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. A lot of people wondered how that veteran defense would respond to a rookie head coach in John Harbaugh. They have. Steelers are 2-1, and we'll be in Pittsburgh next Monday night at 8:30 Eastern here on ESPN. And the Ravens yesterday against Derek Anderson and the Browns. We talked about Ed Reed. 4th time he's had a pick 6 for a touchdown. They intercepted Anderson 3 times, sacked him 5 times.
Tough start for Cleveland. Yeah. Tough start for Cleveland.
The 2 O's in Ohio are for the win totals for the Browns and Bengals. 0-3 each when they play each other this week.
By the way, our thanks to everybody who called in. You can stop calling now. It is the Wasilla Warriors. Thank you.
And your jacket is in the mail.
I'm waiting for my jacket. Yeah.
You know, you always lobby for swag. You know, you always do.
Yeah, well, too many years as a sports writer. Watching you guys make all the money as pro athletes. You know how it is, Josh.
Oh, you're jealous.
This will be our 3rd onside kick of the night. Jets are 1 for 2. And this is one Feely's going to try to recover himself. He tried to make contact with the would-be recovering San Diego Charger. And let's see, is the marker down on the field? You guys see a marker yet?
I don't think
there it is. There
the ball
it is.
went 10 yards.
It did. Yeah, it did. I couldn't see the marker with all the players there. This will be a good effort by Feely. Trying to make the block and allow the ball to go 10 yards.
If it was touched by a Charger before 10 yards,
yes,
it was then a live ball.
If not, it's illegal touching on the Jets.
We have illegal touching by a member of the kicking team. By rule, the ball will be awarded to San Diego 1st and 10.
See right here, Feely does a good job. Little squig, if he's in foul, it's got to go. Oh, he touched it.
Touched him on the leg, right above the knee.
He touched it going for the block. He was trying to charge it to Weddle.
Is that ESPN's Jay Feely?
Yeah.
This has to be the most onside kicks also in the history of mankind in one day.
Feelings with Miami last year. Only missed 2 kicks as a field goal kicker, and he's here for Mike Nugent, and you never know who's going to get hurt or when they're going to get hurt somewhere around the league, or if Nugent's going to be healthy all year with that leg injury. Mike Westhoff and Eric Mangini getting the explanation from Pete Morelli. Chargers have kind of turned back the clock to their AFL days with the scores here the last 2 weeks. And they put up a lot of points after that Tomlinson run. Jets take a 30-second timeout. So the most points in Charger history, first 3 games. Hall of Famer Dan Fouts and the Chargers in 81, 114 points. Rivers and company this year with 107, 7 behind, and back to the Sid Gilman days. Jaws with 104 points in 1961.
Here's Fouts' jersey hung up.
Yeah, Jack Kemp, as we're talking politics, was a former quarterback of that team.
Of course, Norv Turner backed up Dan Fouts at Oregon.
College. Hall of Famer Dan Fouts.
That's right.
You always get that in about Dan. To mention those Hall of Famers.
61 was the second year of the Chargers, and they won the AFL West. Tomlinson stoned by Sione Bua out of Utah. Final timeout taken by the Jets with 2:58 to go. With a 16-point lead. If you are just clicking over, it was a big night for Phillip Rivers, although he threw a pick 6 in his first drive. 3 touchdowns after that. One to Mike Tolbert, the fullback. That one to Chris Chambers. And then Antonio Gates, a 6-yarder. And Rivers has hit 14 of his last 15 passes. A very efficient number night for the guys. Part of one of the what's proven to be very good draft classes of NFL quarterbacks. Of course, the trade with Eli Manning at the top of the draft. Manning taken first, Rivers taken 4th, and Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
Yeah. But we'll see next week.
2 of the 3 have won Super Bowls. Rivers is the one who has not yet, but got all the way to the AFC title again.
And who knows what's going to happen in this AFC? Really, we've seen the Colts lose twice at home and twice early. And the Colts, we're used to them being 8-0 on Halloween. 7-1 at worst the last 5 years. Third down, Sproles is the back. They're going to throw. Mike Tolbert will be a couple of yards shy of the first down. The Jets powerless to stop the clock.
Speaking of that, about the AFC, the San Diego Chargers at 1-2 are right in it. I mean, the way it's going this year, because nobody really believes that all those teams at the top are going to continue like that, to be undefeated.
Yeah, but in their division, which is the ultimate goal, first you want to win your division. You got the Broncos sitting there at 3-0. They've got the work cut out for them.
The Broncos 3-0 and with a head-up victory
but look
on
at
San Diego.
The good teams in the AFC that are 1-2 right now. Chargers are 1-2, right? The Colts are 1-2. The Jaguars are 1-2. It's a good team. After what happened between Miami and New England, does anybody really think Miami is going to, sail above the crowd again? Probably not.
No, and it was the way the Dolphins physically.
They're trying a 49-yard field goal, but the Chargers took a timeout as they were getting down with the play clock.
Cypher seemed upset about it. Norv's upset about it.
Norv's upset. I hesitate to say it's the maddest I've ever seen him, because when we brought that up to him in the meeting, he gave us 12 examples of when people have said that's the maddest anyone has ever seen me.
It's the most recent anger, but
that's right.
And you were referring in the conversation with Norv to the reaction after the game last week in Denver.
Yes.
Norv was one of the yelling.
Yeah, he called time out. Yeah. Then he saw the kick was Goodman. Who called that timeout?
That's right.
Wow.
As is often mentioned, roots in the air Coryell offense when he was with Ernie Zampese, the Rams. 49-yard kick. Forcating is good. That's confidence in your kicker to take a long kick there with 2:03 to go to make it a 3-score game and effectively put it out of touch.
Is he not money? Is Kading not money? Is that not 49 out of 50 inside the 50 at home? Is this guy not money or what?
Well, he came back after that big miss in the wild card game against the Jets, the 05 wild card game. The Jets 120-17 here, a big upset. But he has been since. Can you talk about Miami yesterday and their victory over New England? How about the performance by Ronnie Brown? 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown. I got a great nugget on this for you from our colleague Steve Hurt, the Elias Sports Bureau. First man to do that. 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown in a game since Patty Driscoll for the Chicago Cardinals in 1923.
That's even before.
No, I thought you graduated.
That's nothing. That's nothing. That happened on October 7th, 1923. That was the date of the final regular season game in the first year of Yankee Stadium. And of course, yesterday was the last regular season game in Yankee Stadium. How about that? I don't know.
Why does Steve Hurt know these things? How much time does he spend looking at that?
As we said earlier, it's his job. What he does.
Trying to figure out who made a catch on a play, and I'm getting all this information from me.
77 points scored here tonight, 48-29. And Leon Washington, who has a long kickoff return tonight of 94 yards. Taking to the sideline, late hit. We'll get some pushing and other stuff.
Leon Washington's a very exciting return guy.
Doesn't appear we have a flag in there as we arrive at the 2-minute warning here in San Diego.
After the runner went out of bounds, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 51, late hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Tim Dobbins, and that's the 2-minute warning.
Once again, we're calling your attention to the
Jets and Chargers will each be 1 and 2. There's the flag on 51 blue.
The Buick, Pontiac, and GMC employee discount on every 2008. And now, many 2009s. You pay what we pay, but only until September 30th.
Now get a Pontiac G6 with better combined fuel efficiency than Honda Accord. Starting at just $16,720. Hurry, these are the final days of the GM Employee Discount for Everyone event. See your dealer by September 30th.
Well, I did it, all right? It's done. I killed him.
He was always going to get killed no matter what he did.
Is your silence supposed to say something?
How do you expect me to operate? What are you keeping all the cards in your chest?
You walk out on me, you know what that means.
What does that mean?
Body of Lies from director Ridley Scott. Rated R. Starts October 10th.
We only got one room left, but I doubt you'll want it.
Why not?
It's a dead zone. Can't get your calls, your precious emails. It's like you don't even exist.
I've got the Verizon network.
You good?
Oh. Towels are kind of scratchy.
We test America's largest 3G network every day. Verizon Wireless. Get the exclusive pink BlackBerry Curve, now just $99.99.
What's up? Stuart Scott with the Sports Center right now. Right after the game on Sports Center, join Emmitt Smith, Steve Young, and I as we break down with the GMC Sierra postgame report. Philip Rivers will join us on the set, plus which AFC and NFC divisional leaders are legit. All that right after the game. Mike?
Okay, Stuart, thank you. We'll see you guys then. Kellen Clemens is going to come in. Brett Favre's night of work is done. Clemens, who was in the battle with Chad Pennington to be the Jets starter before the Favre acquisition on August 6th. Started 7 of the last 8 for the Jets last year. Starting record of 3-5. And Dustin Keller dropped it, and a flag is thrown. Remember, the commissioner sent out a notice to all teams, putting them on alert for player safety and late hits this week.
Well, Kellen Clemens makes a terrific throw right in here.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 42 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, Keller drops the football. You're going to get hit anyway. You might as well catch it, but boy, I didn't see any leading with the head, anything that would lead me to believe that was an illegal hit.
Clemens in his 3rd year out of Oregon, taken in the 6th round of 06. Hatchery, 10th catch of the night. Favre, Jaws, you talked about throwing 24 balls each of the first 2 games, 26 in this half, trying to come from behind. 42 total passes tonight. Chancey Stuckey heading for Sticks. Out of bounds, stops the clock right near the first down line.
Question here, Jaws.
Please do.
You made the point before that the last 7 or 8 minutes may not seem like much to anybody, but that Mangini wanted to see Favre perform with that offense. Is there some indication, some reason why he would not have Favre now?
The game is now out of hand. There's no
Even
question.
Though you have a couple
this
minutes.
football game is over.
Okay.
Yeah, the lead is insurmountable now by the Chargers. Now you take your quarterback out so he's not out there with the potential of getting hurt. Okay. Take him out of harm's way.
Stuckey was just a yard shy of the first down. He's got it now. Jets are out of timeouts.
So in other words, you put your other quarterback in harm's way. Is that what you're saying, Jaws? I want to follow that up.
Backup quarterback. You're exactly right.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody was clear on that.
Okay, it's now clear. Well, they're going to have to take some shots in the end zone here. This clock's ticking away. These checkdowns aren't going to get it done.
And there's an end zone pass that is intercepted by Cromartie, who has 2 tonight, and slam dunks this one.
Well, think of the good news. It saves us from another onside kick attempt. It also kicks up the point total beyond recognition.
Or a 2-point conversion from 9 inches out.
Right. Well, Cromartie with 2 picks, guys. He had talked a lot after getting the 10 interceptions last year. His work with Deion Sanders during the summer. He tried to get himself primed for a big season. He was hoping for 15 interceptions. That was his stated goal for the year. The NFL record for interceptions in a season, one of those records that has remained for a long time. Night Train Lane had 14 in 1952.
12-game season, probably, right?
Yes. And didn't have a pick in the first couple of games. So, big night for Cromartie and Ted Cottrell and the San Diego defense. And on the way out here, give us a headline each side, guys, as both teams go to 1-2.
San Diego feels finally like they've begun the season, and they're not swimming in the bad luck they were in for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, the New York Jets offense with Brett Favre has a ways to go.
Chargers at Oakland next. The Jets get Arizona at home. And Favre, you see him limping there a little bit. He was limping off the field after a touchdown pass earlier, so I'm sure they'll be asking on that foot, checking on Brett for next week. Philip Rivers got his win over Brett Favre, and he's running over for a handshake with one of the guys he idolized as he was growing up in Alabama. See a couple of future Hall of Famers there saying so long as we say so long until next week. With Tony Kornheiser, Ron Jaworski, Michelle Tafoya, our great Monday night team, Mike Tirico. Good night from San Diego. Presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. SportsCenter's on the way. See you next Monday for the Ravens.